you know, my parents always instilled in me the idea of public service. My father was in the Marine Corps and a teacher. My mother was heavily involved in the United Methodist Church back home, and she was a teacher. And it's the idea of helping people. And that's something that, you know, I've always wanted to try to do. And, you know, I became a public school teacher in 1998. I have been teaching still 27 years. You know, 3 more years to retirement, and hopefully. And you know, it's always been something that's kind of ingrained in me. You know, and my wife is the same way. She is a social worker and has been since 1998, and doing some. I mean, I think when I have a bad day, I know she's got a much tougher day. So there's that. You know, and also, you know, we moved up here into Easton in 2007 because my wife was getting home late coming back to Salisbury and missing time with our son, who was, you know, little at the time. And so we decided together to make the move to Easton. And you know, it was one of the best decisions we ever made because we love it here. You know, that would be closer for her, you know, to be at work. And, you know, I did the drive down to Mardella Springs, which is, you know, most days it's not bad. And yeah, you know, one of the things that I thought about doing was joining the volunteer fire department, and I did that in 2009. And again, a great decision. I'm glad I did it. My wife's family's all firefighters from New York, and so you know, always hearing them talk about it, and again, here's an opportunity to serve. And so I've been in the volunteer fire department here in Easton since '09, and served as, you know, president of the department, and I'm currently a lieutenant with the department. You know, one of the great things about the fire department, besides the people that are in it and the ability to serve the community, is there is really that emphasis of service. In fact, if you look on all our trucks, it says service for others, and that just kind of fits right in with, you know, my idea of public service. You know, you're never going to get super wealthy doing it, but at the same time, it's rewarding. It is rewarding to help other people. So I got a chance to meet, obviously, Mayor Willie, because he was in the fire department, and in 2019, when Pete Lesher moved up to the county council, you know, Mayor Willie and I and my wife, because this was a big decision, had a conversation about running for town council, and yeah, we decided to go for it, and so we ran in 2019 in a special election to fill Pete Lesher's seat, and we won, you know, and which was great. And, you know, I had a great relationship with my opponent, a guy named Talbot Bone, who had been on the planning commission. Great guy. I mean, we got along really well even during the campaign because we focused on the issues. I think I had just finished up my term as president of the fire department, you know, and working with those guys, men and women in the fire department, kind of in that role, kind of piqued my interest in the idea of possibly serving the community elsewhere. And like I said, when Pete Lesher moved up to the county council, it just seemed like it was a good opportunity to at least give it a shot. Talking with Mayor Willie about it, and so yeah, and it's been a great experience being on there. 2 years ago, when Megan Cook became mayor, I served as interim council president, and it was a great experience doing that. But at the time, you know, my wife and I talked about it, just wasn't the right time family-wise for me to pursue being president of the council. We had a lot going on. Our son was getting ready to start college, daughter was getting ready to start high school, and just a lot going on. So, and with us, the family came first, so it was like, okay, we're not going to do it. And so, fast forward 2 years later, I'm not really happy in the direction that the council's going. I think there is some room for improvement, and I think my leadership style, my ability to build a consensus, makes me a good candidate to try to bring about some of those changes that we need. Priority number one is definitely the thing we heard about the most talking to people, and one that from the start, I was like, we got to focus on this, and that's development, that's growth in town. And there's a lot of people who have a lot of concerns about growth, what it does to traffic, what it does to police response, what it does to the schools. Even though the town doesn't have direct influence over the schools, obviously we're going to have an impact on the schools through the amount of development that goes on. So smart development involved a few things for me. One is getting the comprehensive plan done. We're still using the same comprehensive plan from 2010. That needs to be updated because our priorities have changed from what they were in 2010. We need to bring the council in on redevelopment projects in town. There were a lot of people who had concerns about Easton Crossing, which is a project there off of Brooklets Avenue, where the old granary silos were. And the town of Easton, the town council had no impact, no say in that project at all. And there were a lot of people who were asking us, why is this getting approved? And nothing against the planning commission. They're a great group of volunteers who spend a lot of their free time, making very difficult decisions. But it was like, well, the town council maybe should be brought in on that situation because it gives people at least another avenue that they can take to raise questions, ask questions, raise concerns that they otherwise wouldn't have. And so I think for large-scale redevelopment projects, now obviously if you're talking about a small project, of a few units, I don't think the town council needs to be brought in on that, but something large-scale, like what you see with Easton Crossing, I think that would be something that would be beneficial to see the council involved in that. The other one, of course, it relates with smart growth or smart development is traffic. There's a lot of traffic concerns, and development only creates more concerns about traffic. And so one of the things I'd like to see us do is if you get a traffic study done and a proposed development, reduces the ability of that particular street or intersection to handle traffic, then it should be left up to the developer to mitigate that, so that that's not being pushed on to the state or the county or the town. It's being pushed on to the developer to make those corrections that need to be done, whether that's a traffic light, whether that's more longer turn lane, what have you. So that's smart development. Those are some of the things on there. Safety is a big one. Our police department's great, but we need to continue to work because it's like an arms race. You improve salaries, the state troopers improve salaries. You do take-home cars, somebody else does take-home cars. So you got to continually update and improve the benefits for police officers because it's a very difficult job and you want to hire the best possible people. And so one of the things that we need to work on for safety to improve our police recruitment is our pensions. We have a cutoff, a percentage. If you do your 22 years in Easton, you get 50% of your salary as your pension. But there's a cutoff point, all right? Other departments don't have a cutoff point, so you can increase the percentage that you would get in your pension if you worked longer. We don't allow that beyond, I think, 55%, which makes it more difficult because if you're a police officer who's maybe with some experience who's looking to maybe move, that pension doesn't sound as good, so we might not be able to attract those people. So making sure the police have what they need and that they're competitive with everyone else is big with safety. And then, of course, the fire department is 100% volunteer. We do not want to lose that. We lose the 100% volunteer, you will see a monster tax increase if we were to go to a paid department. We don't want to see that. And so one of my goals as both a council member and also a volunteer firefighter is to keep it volunteer. And that means you got to make sure that the department gets the necessary equipment that it needs. We're doing a great thing with the training ground. The town provided a site, and the fire department through the Friends of the EVFD was able to raise millions of dollars to build a training facility. And it's not just going to help Easton Volunteer Fire Department, it's going to help other first responders in the immediate area. So I think that's important to continue to support the fire department. But one of the things that's popped up, like I mentioned earlier, when we went around knocking on doors and talking to people, is concerns about access to medical care. That was a big one that early on we weren't talking about, but it's a big part of safety. And so obviously the hospital being built is a major deal. When it's all done, it's going to be state of the art. It's going to attract a lot of people. And maybe some more, new physicians. But people are concerned now in 2025, I can't get into my doctor. I can't get a specialist to be seeing me. I have to go across the bridge or something along those lines. And the idea is, first of all, we have to understand we're competing not just, all the people in Easton aren't the only ones who are going to these doctors. You also got Talbot County, you got Caroline County, you got people in Dorchester and so on. And so what we need to do is we need to try to attract more physicians, specialists to come to the town of Easton. And I had a great opportunity a few weeks ago to talk to some doctors, and they said that there are two things that we should be focusing on. One we can work on directly, the other one we got to work on with the county. So they said, you know, if you're a young doctor coming to Easton, thinking about moving to Easton, you want good schools. And so what we need to do is we need to be working with the county, with the Board of Education, whatever we can do to help them make sure that Talbot County schools are first rate, and that's going to attract people to want to move here. The other thing is physicians to move here. The other thing is one thing that we can actually control. One thing we can control is the idea of young doctors, according to these gentlemen and ladies I talked to, there's not a lot to do here for young families. So they think that the town of Easton needs to try to attract more businesses that would give residents something to do, younger folks something to do. And so that it would be right up the alley of the Easton Economic Development Corporation, get them out there trying to bring in those businesses that might attract interest and pique interest in people moving here. So that's a big part of safety as well, is making sure we have the proper medical staff, and this is how we would go about doing it. And then finally, well, a couple more things. Fiscal responsibility is, of course, really important. We don't want to waste the taxpayers' money. That's really important to me. It has been. We haven't raised the tax rate since 2008. It still sits at 52 cents per $100 of assessed value. We do a lot with that money, provide a lot of services. We got to maintain those services, but we also have to not waste the people's money. And then the last piece that I've been telling people is civility. You know, there are going to be major disagreements on the council. There's going to be major disagreements with the mayor. We don't always get along, but we can disagree without being disagreeable. And that's a big part of the campaign as well. So I might not agree with what someone has to say on the council, but I'm going to listen to them, and we're going to try to find some kind of common ground. That's what building consensus is all about. My focus is trying to give people reasons why they should vote for me in the election. And what I would say is I think I'm good at building consensus with people. I think I'm good with reaching out, discussing issues, listening is a big part of it, and saying, you know what, I don't necessarily agree with you, but maybe we can find some common ground. I think that is something that's really important. And I think it's something that we can definitely improve on. I want people to know that this is a great town, that I know sometimes it seems like there are some major issues that we have in town, but we've got a lot of great people living here. We do come together, we work hard, we volunteer. There's a lot of people in this town who volunteer their free time, and we help each other out. There really is a strong sense of community here. And it's, again, one of the reasons why, you know, we moved here, why we love living here, why I volunteered to be in the fire department. I mean, just that to think about. I mean, I have duty crew tonight for the fire department, which means if there's a call between 10 and 5 a.m., 10 p.m. and 5 a.m., I got to get up and go to it. But you know what? I don't hesitate to do it because I know there's going to be 5 or 6 other people who are going to do the same exact thing. And that's what it's about. It's about serving the community. And it's something that I really have a love for. And, you know, if things don't work out in this election, if I don't win, which, you know, it's democracy. People are going to vote. If I don't win, I'm still going to be doing that. I'm still going to be getting on the fire truck. And, you know, and I would hope that that people would realize that we are a community, we are neighbors, and even if we disagree politically, we still got to, you know, try to work together and serve the community as a whole.